Hello and welcome back to my Let's Challenge of BioShock. In the last episode, we started the Neptune's bounty level and we managed to get two little sisters down. As you can see, we have a third one just here being put away, but I think we will leave him for now.
Now the eggs are in the scramble. We picked up Timmy Yates right after midnight. Either Ryan will be taking down Fontaine, or Fontaine will be taking down Ryan. We'll be interviewing poor Timmy near Fontaine Fisheries. If you're up for entertainment, the code's 5380.
So there you go, that is the passcode that you need in order to gain access to that, if you ever wanted to get access to the, that scene, that little area down below where we met Peach Wilkins. If you wanted to open that, that lock without needing to use a hack, that is how you would do so. You could essentially come over here, find that audio diary, and that audio diary would then give you the one that you need. So the values here. So obviously we have the little sister. I mean, we could take them on. It is obviously dangerous. It's always dangerous. We do have more options than we did. I think we'll leave it just for now. We did so well last time that I think I don't want to get sort of like too. Don't want to go too far and then sort of suffer for you know, taking them on too soon. Do not like leadheads. Okay, cool. So I'm pretty sure there's a security camera around here that we really can't do much about. The one up there. Okay, we'll just destroy it instead. Yep. There's nothing we could really do about that one. That's fine. As long as it's down, that's the important thing.
This Fontaine fellow is somebody to watch. Once he was just a menace, to be convicted and hung. But he always manages to be where the evidence isn't. He's the most dangerous type of model. The kind with vision.
So there we start, you know, we're seeing more of Atlas becoming more suspicious of Fontaine. Where are you? Straight across there. Lovely, okay. So we're doing well on virtually everything, but it's always good to hack those vending machines. Not just, obviously they give you a small amount of health and stuff like that, but also just for the just for later in case we were to come back to this area. This one I'm pretty sure we can hack. We can indeed hack it. Auto hacks are especially useful when it gets to the point where hacking becomes very difficult. At this stage, we're still at a point where hacking is relatively manageable, although safes, certain safes and stuff like that will be much harder than, you know, previously. As we find ourselves a frag grenade, always useful. So see, frag grenades are the ammo for the grenade launcher along with the proximity mine. The proximity mine is especially useful to us. Just it allows you to essentially, arm areas before you go into them. The next area we're going to go into is just full of security. We're talking turrets. We're talking a lot of turrets, essentially.
It can also analyze genetic information, parse biological structures, lots of other $5 worth.
So we just need to be a little careful here. But what it does give you access to is an awful lot of security. And having that security is actually pretty nice. For example, you might have seen all the way in the distance there a turret. So we'll hack this. Stand. Thankfully, time does stop still when you hack, so you might well be in danger, but the hacking minigame means that you aren't. If you hadn't gathered that already. Unfortunately, because of the nature of this area, all of these gun turrets will often sort of end up shooting themselves, because they'll be deemed as sort of doing damage to you, as we do get a trophy for skilled hacker. Not entirely probably be a set number of hacks, maybe? I'm not entirely sure what that one's for. But this is another life, which is always good for us. We'll just buy out here. Enemy triggered that, okay. So that means... I very much do not mind just letting the turrets and everything take out the enemies. There are yet more turrets for us to take out. There's one over there. Go. Beautiful. We will just avoid anything in case. Okay, more enemy triggering. That's fine. There's a lot of alcohol in these crates, as you can see. Again, alcohol decreases your EVE, but increases your health. So yeah, that turret is still obsessed with trying to hit us. That's a door that we'll eventually get round to the other side of, but... So now we just need one good target. There we go. If the Big Daddy is going to come in here, that would be amazing, because this is an area full of very dangerous security, and that will do a lot of damage to the Big Daddy. Obviously, you always need to make sure that the Big Daddy in question has a little sister in tow. Okay. These enemies keep triggering the alarms. Lovely. Proximity mine. Okay, leadhead. What do we have around here? Some bandages, a corpse. judging by the fact that we can't hear like a little sister, like Mr. Bubbles, or the various other sort of little sisters, sort of what they say, does make me think that maybe we don't actually have a little sister with this Big Daddy. Should be a little frustrating, but. Okay, we can hack that, lovely. The corpse has just some pistol rounds, but you hear that, and you definitely hear a little sister, so. Where is the Big Daddy? Because if he's in here, we definitely want him in here. I will fight. This is definitely on my terms with all of this security around. I guess the other way would be to try and lure him up. But we've already seen that the Big Daddies tend to be pretty reluctant to follow you, at least the Rosies do. Oh, well, what we do need to do is break through here. Okay, so we can't actually hack that regardless, so. We just have to destroy it instead. Grenade launcher, desk, another audio diary, and a safe.
That's what we've come to now. Look, I don't make the laws here. I just enforce them. But I didn't come to rapture to string men up for running contraband. If Ryan and his crew have their law, then they can have my badge.
You can use the buyout, the amount that the buyout has, to sort of indicate whether you might want to think about using an auto hack tool. Because generally, obviously, the more difficult, the more expensive it would be for you to dodge just by paying. As we get some anti-personnel around, some RPGs, and some dollar. So again, we're seeing more enemies sort of disappearing to be brutally murdered. Yep. You did not last long. So, I mean, doesn't look good for the Big Daddy, but that's fine, that's fine. We don't need the Big Daddy around yet. And indeed, just after this, one, we're going to get the camera, but two, we're also going to get access to a new plasmid, which is going to be really useful, and is one of my favorite plasmids in the game. You just have so much items that, you know. Nope. More of that.
Jesus loves me, this
Okay, so if we head through here, here is where we see the camera.
Now give me some snaps on those Spider Splicers, and don't come back down here till you've got my research.
So there we go. We get an increase to the damage, so you get increased damage, and also so essentially you can take photos of the same splicer over and over again, and you'll get less and less damage for doing so. Sorry, less and less points for doing so. The points are important because the points essentially control like what sort of score you get. The higher the score, the more points, then the higher the quicker you get to the point where you can say you've fully researched an enemy. Now there are a few enemies that are very important. Because they're only around, they're limited essentially in terms of their locations in the game. Like certain enemies do not appear later on in the game. Mainly the thuggish, who do not appear past not this area, but then I don't think it's actually even the next area. I think it's the one after. Generally, everything else you're pretty reliable with. You want to take a picture of virtually everything though. So like all the rosies, all of rosies and bouncers are completely different. We did, I should say, we did get a trophy for researching a splicer. So essentially just taking a picture. So here's the Gatherer's Garden, from which we actually gain ourselves a new plasmid, which is this one. Security bullseye is great.
Trick the security system. Set security bots and turrets on your enemies.
So security is great. Essentially, even what it does is that it means that turrets, cameras that even aren't even hacked for you will start targeting down. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just taking a lot of photos. The reason that you want to take lots of photos there is because obviously you also gain security bonuses for not just enemies, but also cameras and turrets and security bots. So starting this process of sort of getting max there's Tenenbaum realizing that these are the slugs, which essentially are the source of all the Adam. So it resurrects cells. They can be replaced with, you know, bend the double helix. Black can be reborn white, etc. All that sort of stuff. We have an ammo vending machine, which are always important to hack because they often are the best sources of the valuable ammo. You know, we're talking electric buck, we're talking anti-personnel rounds, we're talking armor-piercing rounds, all of that sort of stuff. There, and there. Lovely. So, pistol rounds, electric buck, and some anti-personnel rounds. Might get some more of those. Certain purchases will essentially disappear once you select them once. I'm not entirely sure why. I guess they sort of just like have limited stock maybe or something like that. Okay, so this is the other side of the door, on the other side of the area where we saw that, where we started essentially, where we saw that Big Daddy. So yeah, some more buck that we can't pick up because we already have. See, you're generally not in trouble for like ammo and stuff like that, especially like your base ammos. But a lot of the time, the ammo you want to be using is, you know, the more exotic stuff, and that can be relatively hard to come by at times. So, get another.
If things weren't bad enough, it seems that even our water system sprung a leak. Yep, that's right. Irrigation. You have the research camera? Good. Guess it's time to get to work for old Peachy. Take the man's pictures, and let's get the hell out of this place.
So, there we go. So it was, Atlas was rude enough to interrupt McDonough. You can obviously see that these hacks are full of more tiles that just make things more difficult for us. There we go. So, there we go, that's what we want.
Bad enough. Seems that even our water system sprung a leak. Yep, that's right. Irrigation system in Arcadia is taking on seawater. I told Mr. Ryan when we were building this place, either you build her like a bathtub, or she's going to turn into a sewer. No, McDonough, he said. We're not going to build no bathtub. We're going to build Eden.
So as you can see, we're now actually out of ammo for our weapon, which is a little annoying. But still, we can quickly hack this camera. You can see a lot of your time is spent hacking. That is, you know, undoubtedly true. You do a lot of hacking in this game. Or as some might call it, plumbing. Okay. We got one of those. And we need another one of those. Lovely. No security bots, I wanted to keep you here. There we go, lovely.
I have turned Fontaine smugglers and ported to Neptune for supplies. Fontaine's men are pigs. They spit, they stink. They deliver, and they don't ask questions. They're all terrified of Fontaine. He reminds me a bit of the Germans. So efficient.
There you see that Tenenbaum, having sort of been turned away by many places, actually has turned to Fontaine, and Fontaine, you know, you can hear her thoughts on Fontaine as well. So now we end up in an interesting position. So essentially we're looking for Spider Splicers to take photos of. The first place we need to head to is the Jet Postal. This is essentially a dead end, which is why you want to head this way first. So you can see in there the splicers. You saw a spider splicer walking over the ceiling. Even if you kill the splicers, you can thankfully take a picture of their corpses. So assuming you find some film, you'll be fine.
Council's in an uproar. Riots in the streets, they say. But this is the time for leadership. Action must be taken against the smugglers. Any contact with the surface exposes Rapture to the very parasites we fled from. A few stretched necks or a small price to pay for our deals.
So yeah, you're starting to sort of really, you know, see a feeling for the feeling in Rapture at the time. So obviously, you know, Fontaine was running a smuggling racket through his fishery business, and at the same time had this sort of control. Was, you know, had invested in Tenenbaum to look at the sort of this genetic angle. Yeah, we need some film, essentially. I think it's well worth us actually just buying as much film as possible. Because then we really don't need to worry about it anymore. So, camera. There's no real point in this. I mean, you can take photos of dead corpses. They do give you like minimal score essentially. You can't take photo of security bots that are friendly to you, if I remember correctly. So unfortunately, that's not really like a tactic you can use.
Now, are you ever bringing old Peach them snappies, or are you just sightseeing?
Yes, yes, Peach. Yes.
Monster.
You made me! You made me!
Find a better hiding.
Why are you leaving me?
Oh, there you are. So you can see that one of the upgrades you get if you, I mean, we might as well just take out this camera up here. Well done. So we can now start getting film from destroyed cameras as well. Since we now actually have the camera. Proximity mine. That's the bot shutdown panel. So the shutdown panels are essentially if you get caught and need to essentially run away. You know, if the alarm triggers and you need to stop the security bots chasing after you, you hit the alarm shutdown panel and it will cut it down early, and all the bots will become immobilized, and then you can actually. Furthermore, you can then use that option to then obviously hack those downed bots. And I think you can have up to 2 at a time. So you'll notice that, yeah, so one of the research benefits you get from Spider Splicers is that you can then use their organs, Spider Splicer organs, as health kits. It's a really useful sort of just bonus.
We thought we could hide from the lights out.
And gives you an illustration of what the so we get scroungers. You also get tonics from doing research as well. So here, this essentially means that you can get more loot from hacking more. But I think we'll just store that in the gene bank.
Blood!
Lone enemies like that are perfect targets for lots and lots of research points, just because they're really easy. So just get that first aid kit, lovely. And the next section is the fighting McDonoughs, I believe. So we may well so there we go. So there you get. That's the 3rd level, which is essentially. So there are 5 levels of research. So yeah, there are 5 levels of research per sort of enemy, and the research bonuses go as a small damage boost, followed then by in this case, you know, we obviously get with Spider Splicers, you get a the ability to use their stuff as their organs as health packs. For the lead heads, we obviously got a new tonic, so you usually get something new. If you then research them again, you'll then get another damage bonus, so damage bonus 2, and then you'll get again something new. You'll get something else for your 3rd one, and then finally. There we go, that's 3. Obviously, we can use electric butt because he was in the water. But yeah, and so there's a final damage boost at 5, and then there's something new at 4. The only unique ones, I think, are the little sisters and maybe the big daddies. I think the little sisters give you upgrades to your Eve, maybe. I can't remember exactly. There's another quite hidden little audio diary just there.
I met Ryan the day me and the lads were installing the bathroom plumbing up in his posh. The thought of me wife and child hiding in that filthy submarine makes me blood boil. Help me get them to safety and I'll be in your debt for life.
So obviously he's trying to, essentially, because we have already taken all of the photos, we could just go back and actually deal with Atlas, I think.
Ryan the day me and the lads were installing the bathroom plumbing up in his posh Park Avenue dish. Wait, says it. What's with all the brass fittings? General contractor had me down for the tip. Well, I says, I suppose it's the contractor then who'll be bailing out your low one fortnight, is it? If it's price you're worried about, I'll be picking up the brass, so not to worry. And why would you be doing that, says it? Well, you're right. Profit or not, no man bells water out of privy built by Bill McDonough.
Don't make this harder than it needs to be.
This day I find out, I'm Ryan's new general contractor.
So you see how someone like Bill McDonough got involved with Ryan as well. I love those sort of just like, you know, finding these little tidbits of information, fleshing out, you know, these characters and, you know, who have, you know, still have parts to play within the story. So once we get through this area, I think we'll call this episode to an end. We don't have too much longer. We sort of have to do this area, and then I think we're done largely. And we can actually head back. Can't pick up any more frag grenade. We can't pick up any more of that. The grenade launchers, you've noticed I probably haven't been using it. There's a reason for that. You still take recoil. You can take splash damage from it until we hit a very worthy gun upgrade, and that makes it particularly dangerous to use in sort of like these quite sort of tight areas, especially on the lone splicers that sort of just walk around here. So it's far sort of, I'd consider it's more efficient to just go with the other weapons that we have. Okay, so that is not another camera, that is here. We have a door to open just here, so we'll do that. Oh no, that's the door to the McDonald's, so what we'll do is we'll actually head into here, which is slightly different. We have another audio diary.
Rapture's changing, but Ryan can't see the wolves in the woods. This Fontaine fella, he's a crook and a proper tea leaf, but he's got the Adam, and that makes him the governor. Sinking the profits back into bigger and better plasmic, building them Fontaine poorhouses, like Fontaine recruiting centres. What we know here, supposed to have an army of splicers. We've got to have ourselves a whole England these days.
You see McDonald's starting to realise what's at stake. Go, lovely. So you hack the turret then will give us access to this safe. So, apparently that counts as no subject in view, unfortunately. Beautiful. Okay, pick you up, hack the safe, and then we'll be done. This is a relatively easy safe, it seems, so not expecting all the riches in the world. You, there we go, lovely. Inside we get an automatic hack tool, some proximity mines, and some electric bug. Okay, so that is going to be it for this episode. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you will join me on the next, where we will be hopefully getting close to finishing off the Neptune's bounty area. We don't have that much left to do. We've got to get through the Fighting McDonald's, which is this sort of pub area around here. We'll battle with that final Spider Splicer, and then we'll head back to Peach Wilkins, and hopefully he'll let us through. So, hope to see you on the next episode.